Landman fans, the wait is almost over and the Season 3 Episode 1 trailer details are finally here. What I'm about to share with you is going to blow your mind. Because this premiere is setting up the most explosive season yet. Okay, first of all, let's be real here. Season 2 left us with so many unanswered questions and so much chaos that we've all been sitting here wondering how Season 3 is even going to begin. I mean, think about where we left off. Cammy fired Tommy, the one person who actually knew how to keep everything from falling apart. She tried to replace him with Nate, which was honestly one of the most desperate moves we've ever seen her make. And of course, Nate being the loyal guy he is, he turned her down without even thinking twice. Those two have been through way too much together to betray each other now, but here's the thing. Cammy is completely alone now. No Tommy, no Nate. No Galeno, nobody. She's running Tech by herself, and we all know that's not going to end well. The woman is grieving, she's angry. And she's holding on to Monty's company like it's the only thing keeping her alive. But that company is also the thing that killed her husband, and if she doesn't let go soon, it's going to kill her too. Everyone tried to warn her. Tommy told her to walk away. Nate told her to walk away. Even Galeno made it clear he was only there because of Tommy, not because he believed in what Cammy was doing, but she wouldn't listen. She never does. And now that she's pushed everyone away, she's standing on the edge of a cliff with nowhere to go but down. The trailer hints are showing us that Episode 1 is going to pick up. Right where that tension left off, Cammy is going to be digging deeper into those documents she found, the ones with no electronic trail, the ones Monty hid for a reason. Nate told her to figure out why Monty kept those papers secret, and that's exactly what she's planning to do. My guess is that whatever she finds in those documents is going to completely destroy everything she thought she knew about her husband and the company he built. We're talking about secrets that could unravel the entire foundation of Tech, and the worst part is that Cammy is walking into this alone. She has no one to protect her, no one to guide her, and no one to stop her from making the biggest mistake of her life. That's what makes this so terrifying. She's not just fighting against the oil industry or corrupt businessmen anymore. She's fighting against ghosts, against secrets, and against her own denial. And we all know how that's going to play out. Meanwhile, Tommy is out there living his best life. Well, kind of. The man got fired, lost everything he worked for under Monty, and somehow still managed to land on his feet. That meeting with Galeno was straight up iconic. Tommy walked in there with so much confidence, pitched his entire business plan like a seasoned pro, and convinced Galeno to invest millions of dollars into his new company, CTT. I mean, who does that? Who gets fired and then immediately builds something even better? That's Tommy for you. He's a survivor. He knows how to play the game. And now he's got his dream team assembled. Tommy as vice president, Cooper as president, Rebecca as coup, Nate handling the money, Dale managing exploration, Thomas running the drilling operations, Boss leading the crew, and Ariana keeping the office in order. Like, come on, that's not just a team, that's a powerhouse. For the first time in years, Tommy has built something that's actually his. Something for his family, something that Monty can't take credit for. But of course, this is Landman, so nothing stays perfect for long. The trailer is already hinting at the storm that's coming for Tommy and CTT, and honestly, it's not hard to see where this is headed. Remember that quiet but absolutely chilling threat Galeno made in the Season 2 finale? Yeah, that's not just going to disappear. You don't take millions of dollars from a man like Galeno and expect everything to stay smooth forever. He's not the kind of guy who invests out of the goodness of his heart. He invests because he expects results, and if he doesn't get them, well, let's just say things get ugly real fast. Season 3 Episode 1 is setting up Tommy's slow realization of just how dangerous this partnership really is. He thought he was building his own empire, but in reality, he might have just traded one master for another. And knowing Galeno, if CTT doesn't deliver exactly what he wants when he wants it, he's not going to hesitate to remind Tommy what happens to people who disappoint him. And while Tommy is trying to navigate this dangerous new partnership with Galeno, he's also got his son Cooper to worry about. Let's not forget what happened at the end of Season 2. Cooper beat that guy to death while protecting Ariana. Now, technically, it wasn't Cooper's fault. The man had a heart attack, but here's the reality. That's not how people are going to see it. That victim wasn't just some random guy. He was powerful, he was connected. And those kinds of people don't just disappear without consequences. Their families don't forgive. Their associates don't forget. And I'm willing to bet that Season 3 Episode 1 is going to show us the first signs of that revenge coming back to haunt Cooper. The trailer hints are already pointing toward some serious tension building around this situation. Tommy knows his son is in danger, he can feel it. And if there's one thing we've learned about Tommy over the past 2 seasons, it's that he will do absolutely anything to protect his family. We've seen him make deals with dangerous people, we've seen him lie, manipulate, and sacrifice his own career to keep the people he loves safe. But this time, it's different. This time, the threat is coming from people who have nothing to lose and everything to gain by making an example out of Cooper. And when those people come knocking, and trust me they will, we're going to see a side of Tommy that we haven't seen before. The protective dad mode is going to go from sweet and caring to absolutely terrifying. He's not going to sit back and let anyone hurt his son. He's going to fight back, and it's going to get messy, really messy. Now, let's talk about what else the trailer is hinting at for episode 1. We know that Cammy is going to be alone, digging through Monty's secrets. We know that Tommy is going to be dealing with Galeno's expectations and the threat against Cooper. But there's more. There's always more with this show. One of the biggest questions heading into season 3 is what's going to happen to the relationship between Tommy and Cammy. These two have been on opposite sides ever since Monty died. Cammy blames Tommy for not saving her husband. Tommy blames Cammy for refusing to let go of a company that's clearly cursed. They've both said things they can't take back. They've both made decisions that hurt each other, and now they're running competing companies in the same brutal industry. That's not just a recipe for tension. That's a recipe for war. The trailer is suggesting that episode 1 is going to force these two back into each hers orbit, whether they like it or not. Maybe it's because of those documents Cammy finds. Maybe it's because Tommy needs information that only she has. Or maybe it's because they both realize that the real enemy isn't each other. It's the system they're both trying to survive in, whatever the reason. Seeing Tommy and Cammy in the same room again is going to be explosive. There's so much anger, so much pain, and so much unresolved history between them, and honestly, I don't know if they're ever going to be able to move past it. But at the same time, they need each other. Tommy knows things about Monty that Cammy doesn't. Cammy has access to information that Tommy needs. And if they can put their egos aside for just 1 second, they might actually be able to help each other. But this is Landman. Nobody puts their ego aside, nobody forgives, and nobody forgets. So instead of working together, they're probably going to make things worse. They're going to say things they don't mean. They're going to push each other's buttons. And by the time episode 1 is over, they're going to be further apart than ever before. Another thing the trailer is hinting at is the return of some familiar faces. We're talking about people from Monty's past, people who have their own agendas, people who are going to complicate everything even more. There are whispers about old business partners showing up, asking questions, demanding answers. There are rumors about investigators looking into Monty's death and the shady deals he made before he died. And there's talk about powerful enemies who see Cammy's vulnerability as an opportunity to strike. All of this is going to come crashing down in episode 1. It's not going to be a slow burn. It's going to be chaos from the very first scene. The writers are throwing us right back into the fire, and honestly, I'm here for it. Because that's what Landman does best. It doesn't waste time. It doesn't hold back. It hits you with drama, tension, and danger right from the start, and it doesn't let up until the credits roll. Now, let's talk about Rebecca and her role in all of this, because she's been one of the most underrated characters in the show, and I have a feeling season 3 is going to change that. Rebecca is now the coup of CTT, which means she's not just Tommy's right hand anymore. She's a major decision maker. She's got real power, and knowing Rebecca, she's going to use that power in ways that surprise everyone. The trailer is hinting that episode 1 is going to show us a more aggressive, more strategic side of Rebecca. She's done playing it safe. She's done being underestimated. And honestly, I think she's going to be the one who keeps CTT from falling apart when things get rough, because let's be real, Tommy is amazing at big picture stuff, at making deals and reading people, but Rebecca is the one who actually makes things run. She's the one who handles the details, who sees the problems before they happen, who keeps everyone focused when everything is going sideways. And in episode 1, she's going to prove just how valuable she really is. There's also this interesting dynamic developing between Rebecca and Ariana. Ariana is managing the office, which means these two are going to be working together constantly. And while they both respect each other, they also have very different approaches to handling problems. Rebecca is calculated, logical, and ruthless when she needs to be. Ariana is more emotional, more empathetic, more willing to see the human side of every situation. That difference is going to create some tension, especially when they're faced with tough decisions that affect the entire company. The trailer suggests that episode 1 is going to test their working relationship in a major way. Maybe there's a crisis that requires them to choose between doing what's right and doing what's profitable. Maybe there's a conflict between protecting someone they care about and protecting the company, whatever it is. It's going to force both of them to show their true colors. And I'm really curious to see how that plays out because both of these women are strong. Both of them are smart. And both of them are capable of holding their own in a world dominated by men. Speaking of strong characters, let's not forget about Dale and Thomas. Dale is running exploration for CTT, which means he's out there on the front lines, dealing with landowners, negotiating deals, and making sure the company has access to the oil they need. Thomas is in charge of drilling, which means he's responsible for actually getting that oil out of the ground. These two have always been solid, reliable guys. But the trailer is hinting that Season 3 is going to push them to their limits. Episode 1 is setting up some serious challenges for both of them. There are rumors about land disputes, about angry locals who don't want drilling in their area, about environmental activists who are ready to fight back. And all of that is going to fall on Dale and Thomas to handle. They can't just drill wherever they want anymore. They can't just throw money at problems and hope they go away. They're going to have to navigate a much more complicated landscape, both literally and figuratively, and if they make one wrong move, it could bring the entire company down. But here's what makes this even more interesting. Dale and Thomas aren't just employees, they're family. They've been with Tommy through everything, they've seen him at his worst and stuck by him anyway. So when things get tough, and trust me they will, these guys aren't going to bail. They're going to dig in, they're going to fight, and they're going to do whatever it takes to make sure CTT survives. That loyalty is going to be tested in Episode 1, though. The trailer is showing hints of external pressure, of people trying to poach key employees, of competitors offering better deals. And while Dale and Thomas would never betray Tommy, the same can't be said for everyone else on the crew. There are going to be people who start to question whether CTT is really worth the risk. There are going to be people who wonder if they should jump ship before things get worse, and that's going to create doubt, tension, and paranoia within the company. Tommy is going to have to figure out who he can really trust and who's just waiting for the right moment to stab him in the back. Now, back to Cammy for a second because we need to talk about what's really going on with her. The woman is falling apart. She's not sleeping, she's not eating. She's obsessed with those documents, with uncovering the truth about Monty, and the more she digs, the more she's going to realize that her husband wasn't the man she thought he was. Monty was a lot of things. He was charismatic, ambitious, and incredibly successful. But he was also ruthless, secretive, and willing to do whatever it took to win. And those documents that Cammy found are going to reveal just how far Monty was willing to go. We're talking about illegal deals, shady partnerships, and betrayals that are going to shake Cammy to her core. The trailer is hinting that Episode 1 is going to show Cammy discovering something in those documents that completely changes her understanding of who Monty really was. Maybe she finds out that he was involved in something criminal. Maybe she discovers that he betrayed people she cared about. Or maybe she realizes that the entire foundation of MTech was built on lies and corruption. Whatever it is, it's going to destroy her. Because Cammy has been holding on to Monty's memory like it's the only thing keeping her alive. She's been running his company, fighting his battles, and defending his legacy against anyone who questions it. But what happens when she realizes that legacy isn't worth defending? What happens when she finds out that the man she loved, the man she's sacrificing everything for, was actually a monster? That's the emotional gut punch that Episode 1 is setting up, and honestly, I don't know if Cammy is strong enough to handle it. She's already on the edge, she's already pushed away everyone who could help her, and now she's about to face the truth alone. The trailer shows glimpses of Cammy breaking down, of her sitting in Monty's office surrounded by papers, of her looking lost and terrified, and that's heartbreaking because we've seen this woman be so strong, so determined, so fierce. But grief and obsession have broken her down into someone we barely recognize anymore, and the worst part is that she's not going to stop. Even when she finds out the truth, even when she realizes what Monty really was, she's still going to try to save the company because at this point, it's not about Monty anymore. It's about her. It's about proving to herself that she's not weak, that she's not a failure, that she can survive without him. But the company is falling apart. Investors are pulling out. Employees are leaving. And without Tommy, without Nate, without anyone who actually knows how to run an oil company, MTech is going to collapse. The only question is whether Cammy is going to go down with it or whether she's finally going to accept that some things aren't worth saving. Now, while Cammy is dealing with her own demons, Tommy is facing a completely different kind of threat. Galeno isn't just an investor. He's a predator. He's the kind of man who sees opportunity in other people's desperation, and he saw that desperation in Tommy when he walked into that meeting looking for funding. Tommy thought he was making a smart business deal. He thought he was securing his family's future. But what he actually did was put himself in debt to one of the most dangerous men in the industry. And Galeno is going to collect on that debt one way or another. The trailer is suggesting that episode 1 is going to show us the first signs of Galeno tightening his grip on CTT. Maybe he starts making demands that Tommy isn't comfortable with. Maybe he pushes the company to cut corners or take risks that could get people hurt. Or maybe he just reminds Tommy in that calm, terrifying way of his that he owns a piece of CTT now, and that means he owns a piece of Tommy too, and Tommy is going to realize, probably too late, that he made a deal with the devil. He traded Monty's control for Galeno's, and honestly, Galeno might be even worse. Because Monty at least had some loyalty to the people who worked for him, Galeno has loyalty to no one except himself. He doesn't care about Tommy's family, he doesn't care about the crew. He doesn't care about doing things the right way, all he cares about is profit, power, and making sure everyone knows who's really in charge, and if Tommy steps out of line. If he fails to deliver, if he even thinks about going against Galeno's wishes, there are going to be consequences, serious consequences, the kind that don't just end careers, the kind that end lives. That's the real horror of Tommy's situation. He thought he escaped. He thought he built something independent, something safe. But he's actually just traded one cage for another. And this cage has sharper teeth. Meanwhile, Cooper is trying to move forward with his life, trying to pretend that what happened didn't happen. Trying to focus on his new role as president of CTT, but the guilt is eating him alive. He killed a man, yeah, it was self-defense, yeah, the guy had a heart attack. But Cooper still feels responsible, and that weight is crushing him. The trailer shows Cooper looking paranoid, looking over his shoulder, jumping at shadows. He knows that the people connected to the man he killed aren't going to let this go. He knows they're coming for him, he just doesn't know when or how, and that uncertainty is torture. Ariana is trying to help him, trying to be there for him, but there's only so much she can do. She's dealing with her own trauma from that night. She's the reason Cooper was in that situation in the first place. And even though he doesn't blame her, she blames herself.